Fully vaccinated people made up just 1% of coronavirus deaths in England in first half of 2021, figures show.
Here's a summary of the article.
People who were fully vaccinated against COVID-19 accounted for only 1% of all deaths involving coronavirus in England in the first half of this year, new figures show. The figures released by the Office for National Statistics show the risk of death involving COVID is lower for people who receive 2 vaccinations compared to 1 or no dose. Of the 51,281 deaths involving COVID in England between the 2nd of January and the 2nd of July, 640 were people who had received both vaccine doses. Just 256 deaths were people who were both fully vaccinated and who had their first positive PCR test at least 14 days after their second dose. A detailed breakdown of the data is available for 252 of the 256 people who died after having received both jabs and who first tested positive at least 14 days after the second dose, what the ONS describes as breakthrough deaths. Some 61.1% of breakthrough deaths occurred in males, which is higher than for other deaths involving COVID and non-COVID deaths. Julie Stamborough, Deputy Director of Health and Life Events at the ONS, said, "Our new analysis shows that, sadly, there have been deaths of people involving COVID-19 despite them being fully vaccinated."
This post received a score of 42,000, with an upvote ratio of 83%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I am more interested in the second half of 2021.
I can give you some fairly recent data for Germany. From beginning of August until now we had age 18 to 59, age greater than 59% vaccinated, 66.7, 84.9 COVID cases in hospital total, 4,836, 2,590 fully vaccinated in hospital, 274, 513 total deaths, 54, 338 deaths of fully vaccinated, 0, 92.
When you are the 15% that accounts for near 75% of the deaths, you are in the group nobody in their right mind wants to be in.
Half the people that die in car accidents were wearing their seatbelt. Which means half weren't, and since 90% of people wear them, the 10% that don't result in 50% of fatalities.
Out of curiosity, is this a real statistic about seatbelts? Or just an example?
They are almost spot on, with a bit of rounding for effect. Many Americans understand the life-saving value of the seatbelt. The national use rate was at 90.3% in 2020. Of the 22,215 passenger vehicle occupants killed in 2019, 47% were not wearing seatbelts.
My dad is a rare case where not wearing a seatbelt probably saved his life when he got T-boned by a dump truck. Instead of being crushed, he was just thrown across his truck. Still had a traumatic brain injury, broken collarbones and multiple broken ribs, and likely would have suffocated had his truck not rolled onto the lawn of a nurse who was running late for work that cleared his airway. Wear seat belts.
I had a coworker a while back who refused to wear a seatbelt because his brother died in a wreck, and ended up trapped, and IIRC choked to death on the seatbelt. Supposedly the highway patrol said he probably would have lived if he were not wearing a seatbelt. Like, I get that he's mourning the loss of his brother, but how can you not see that's a statistical anomaly? I never had the heart to argue my point with him, and I feel like most of my coworkers didn't either. I hope he eventually changed his mind.
The highway patrol never should have told the family that. But exactly, if people in car wrecks choking on seatbelts was a common thing, they'd likely have some kind of safety mechanism that the belts would release like 10 seconds after airbags were deployed or something.
Why don't we do that anyways?
C. Vaccinated people still die. S.
Fun fact, if everyone in England was vaccinated, vaccinated people would make up 100% of COVID deaths.
Oh shit. That's one of those things every sane person has to agree with. And then the crazies won't listen to what comes after the but.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.